Chapter 6.1, creating a worksheet. So you have two learning objectives. You need to be able to prepare the heading of a worksheet, and you need to be able to prepare the trial balance section of a worksheet. So first they're going to talk about this accounting concept, consistent reporting. Consistent reporting is applied when the same accounting procedures are followed in the same way in each accounting period. So it's just talking about how we want to report that information with the same procedures every accounting period so that we are able to compare from period to period. So fiscal period is the length of time for which a business summarizes its financial information and reports its financial performance. A lot of times we might call this fiscal period also an accounting period. It means the same thing. Fiscal period consisting of 12 consecutive months would be called a fiscal year. Now, when we talk about those 12 consecutive months, it doesn't have to follow along with a year calendar, so it might not be January through December. We might have a fiscal year that runs June through May. Okay. The reason that they might do that is because when we think about December, especially for merchandising businesses, December can be very busy for a merchandising business. That's when we have our holidays, and so they probably don't want the end of their fiscal period, the end of their fiscal year, to be during that same busy time. They might want to run that during a time that is not as busy for them. And so they can choose a different year as long as it's that 12 consecutive months. A worksheet is a columnar accounting form that's used to summarize the general ledger information needed to prepare financial statements. So reasons that accountants use a worksheet, they're going to summarize general ledger account balances to prove that debits and credits equal. It helps to plan needed changes to general ledger accounts to bring account balances up to date. It separates general ledger account balances according to the financial statements that are going to be prepared, and then it calculates the amount of net income or net loss for a fiscal period. And we'll see all four of those things when we are preparing this worksheet. First thing that we need to do then for a worksheet is we need to have a heading. A heading on all of our financial statements or reports are always going to answer the three questions of who, what, and when. So our who is the name of the company. Our what is what kind of report it is. Here we're creating a worksheet. And then our when is the date of the report. Now for this case, we are showing what happens over a period of time. So we are going to say 4 month ended January 31st, 20, whatever year it is. Preparing the trial balance on a worksheet. So these first two columns are going to be our trial balance part of the worksheet. So this is not the complete worksheet. This is just the first two columns. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to write all of our general ledger account titles in the worksheet account title column. So we are going to have all of our accounts that we have in our general ledger written here. All we're simply going to do is find our general ledger, and we're going to copy each account down in order that they show up in our general ledger. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to write the debit balances or the credit balances for each account. Now, this seems pretty easy. We're just copying numbers from our general ledger. Again, we are human, so the biggest mistakes that we might make is writing the wrong number or writing it in the wrong column. So you really need to make sure that you are being careful when you are copying those numbers. Notice, like when we see income summary here, income summary does not have a balance in our general ledger. We're just going to skip that. That's okay. We still want to list it because we'll use it later on, but we will just skip it for now. Next thing that we'll do is we'll put a single line rule. Remember that single line rule is just a line across those two columns, and that just tells us that we are going to total those two columns. Next thing that we'll do then is we're going to add our debit column, and we're also going to add our credit column. We want to make sure that our debits equal credits. If we were to see here that debits and credits don't equal, that tells us that we have a problem. In this case, the debits and credits are equal, so that is great. So once we write those totals in and they're equal, we're going to double line rule. A double line rule, remember, just shows that our debits and credits are equal. All right, number 1. I do want you guys to answer these as I'm going through. So I'll kind of pause and give you a second to find the answer. So number 1, what is written on the 3-line heading on a worksheet? That would be, remember, who, what, and when. The name of the business, the name of the report, and then the date of the report. Number 2, which general ledger accounts are listed in the trial balance columns of a worksheet? All of our general ledger accounts are going to be listed in the trial balance columns of a worksheet, even if those accounts do not have a balance. So any account that's listed in our general ledger goes in there, no matter what. You can now go to the 6-1 work together video and have your 6-1 work together open on Applia.